This episode is brought to you by Americas Rehab Campus. Get on the road to recovery with the best rehab in beautiful Arizona. Dial 1-833-272-7342. That's 1-833-ARC-REHAB. Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on, man? It's your boy Booda. Welcome to the ARCast. I am here once again, man. This is a remote interview. We haven't done one of these in a minute, but I'm super excited. The gentleman that I got in here today, we got connected on Facebook, man, and I asked him if he wanted to come through, share his testimony. He was like, yo, dude, let's do it, and I got to show you guys. He is 575 days sober, all right? You're not even going to be able to recognize this man right here that I'm about to show you. Check this out. We do recover. It's incredible, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, get up out your seats. I'm in one. I must stay here, but y'all get out of your seat, and let's give a huge round of applause to my homeboy. There he is right there. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up, Michael Morlan, right there, bro. How are you doing, dude?
I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah? All right, dude. So, bro, 575 days. That's crazy. That's crazy. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm really excited to have you on the show, dude. I appreciate it because we trying to do something different with these remote podcasts, and I want people to be able to spread, I want people to be able to speak their testimony and to be able to spread a positive message, man. And I mean, looking at this picture, dude, it's incredible. It's completely unrecognizable. Do you remember that day?
Oh, it was an awful day. I was actually on my birthday in 2020.
Oh my God. When's your birthday, bro?
June 19th.
June 19th. Okay, so you're in the middle of COVID, right? Like the worst time period in the world, and you're over there just trying to survive. That's crazy.
That was actually a mugshot.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm thinking about that time period on your birthday. What you must have been going through. That's That's nuts, dude. And I mean, to see where you're at now, it's truly incredible. What have you been up to?
Well, as of right now, I went back to high school to get my diploma.
Good for you.
I'm getting my certificate for integrated behavioral health to become a BAHT.
Dope. Okay. I want people that are out there to know that recovery is possible. They see in your picture, they see what you look like right now, bro. Clean shaven, doing good. So let's go back to the beginning. Where are you from, homeboy? Where were you born?
Phoenix, Arizona.
It's a hot place to grow up, man. How was your childhood? Did you have any siblings, brothers and sisters? What was the background?
Well, see, I have my brother who's an Irish twin of me. He's only 10 months older. Childhood was kind of interesting. Dad was diagnosed with John Hopkins lymphoma when I was at a young age and given 6 months to live. He beat it. He was in remission, but it changed my family's dynamics a lot. And it's just like my parents weren't really attentive with me, especially when I hit high school, which is where my drug addiction began.
And tell me a little bit about the disease that your dad had for those like myself who are unaware of what that is. What does that mean?
It's a terminally ill cancer that literally affects your body, and you have to go through chemo and radiation. And my dad, even doing radiation and chemotherapy, he was getting up every day to go to work because he had kids he had to feed.
Wow. And your mom and dad, were they married and stuff the whole time?
Yeah, there was some issues with my mom and dad that I was too little to understand.
Yeah.
But my mom has a disability to where it's as she gets older, her mind deteriorates a little bit as it goes. But there were some situations that arose when I was a child, and my mom had to be absent during the time my dad had cancer.
Oh, man. Okay, so that's something that they've both been kind of struggling with, or like your whole adolescence and everything like that.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this, man. Michael, was there any addiction or anything like that in your family growing up, bro? Do you remember anybody having an addiction, anything like that?
Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you, I don't. But my mom was adopted, and from what I understand now as an adult, addiction runs on my mom's side of her family, on her biological.
So growing up, this was something that you and your brother were pretty familiar with. Were they able to take care of themselves, or did they have, other family members and stuff that were there helping them?
Well, see, my dad always had his mom, which is my grandmother, and my aunt, which is his sister,
Uh-huh.
and they were always involved in our lives at a young age. Like my grandma and my aunt helped raise us, which I really appreciate because I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for my aunt and my grandma.
Oh, okay. All right. And what about like with school, dude? Like when you started going to school, things like that, were you a good student?
No, I was a terrible student through the
Yeah.
years.
I know you said that you recently just got your high school diploma. How far did you get before you dropped out?
12th grade.
So you went all the way through high school and everything like that.
Yeah, but I had substance abuse issues in high school.
Were you ever diagnosed with anything? Did they ever diagnose you with like with anything? Were you on medication, stuff like that too?
It was like kind of like a mood disorder and a couple of things, anxiety.
Okay. All right. And as far as the school goes, you didn't have any positive outlets like football, sports or anything like that you did?
I was actually the head of yearbook, and um, I did a lot of computer club things where I did stuff with computers and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. And at what age did you start dabbling in substances, man? When did that all happen for you?
Well, I started smoking marijuana when I was 9 years old,
Wow.
which there was a lot of issues with that. Then I started using methamphetamine.
Were your parents aware that you had started dabbling in things like that, or were they, due to the circumstances, were they pretty checked out?
They weren't aware of the situation of me smoking marijuana until I was like 12 years old.
So during that whole time, like with your school and stuff, you were just kind of slacking off or whatever, getting involved with the wrong crowds, things like that.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went.
And at what age do you remember? Was there something traumatic that happened, or any type of situation, like when you remember when with substances started becoming more of a hindrance? Like, like when we first start using, bro, everything's fun. Drinking's fun, getting drunk, all this type of stuff. What time in your life did this start becoming a real hindrance to you?
Well, see, it would have been my freshman year in high school. I was drinking really heavily. Like I would have handles of liquor a night with my buddy at a fire, and it just progressed to where I was going to school drunk.
Okay. Going to school drunk. And did you get in trouble for that too? Like when you were at the school, did they ever catch you?
Well, I was one of those people who knew how to hide their issues with substances really well.
Oh, okay. You're a professional, bro. And like, what ended up happening, brother, like after school when you ended up dropping out, stuff like that. What was the circumstances with that? Were you working? Let us know a little bit about that.
Well, I worked at McDonald's for a little bit, and then I met my ex-girlfriend who um it's just things progressed to where I stopped talking to my family and started picking up a meth habit way worse.
Mm.
Me and my ex-girlfriend in 2016 we had suffered a stillborn,
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
which then progressed me to start drinking a lot more. It got really bad, and then I was using meth a lot more. And then 2017 we suffered another stillborn, made it go a little bit more after that, and then in 2018 our son was born alive and died 9 days later.
Oh
The
my
day that
God.
my son died, I put a needle in my arm.
Oh my God, man. I'm so sorry to hear that. So you guys experienced so much loss in that little bit of time. And did that relationship that you had, going through all of that trauma and experiencing that type of loss with another person, was that kind of one of the reasons why you guys had separated? I'm guessing that, you hear so much people that go through things like that. It just puts like such a huge weight on the relationship and with everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, see, the relationship actually ended in 2022 before I went to the ARC because of substance issues, and I was done. I was done being an addict. I needed to go get help, and she wasn't willing to go and get help.
Wow. So experiencing that, with your girlfriend at the time, two losses, and then finally giving birth and losing your son at 9 days, which by the way, I'm so sorry that you guys had to go through that, man. Looking at the mugshot, dude, and that picture, that you have, it's like, I'm guessing the type of lifestyle you were living at that time, was really dark. And I'm sure with every loss, it just got a level darker and a level darker, right? What was the thought for you, man? Like when did things start changing to that point where you were actually like, hey, I need to do something about this. Like I need to change my life. How did that moment hit you? Where were you at? Do you remember?
I do. I remember it like clear as day. I was on the streets. I had just suffered 12 overdoses back to back to back to back.
Oh my God, bro.
Me and my aunt were arguing, and she slammed on her brakes when we were screaming because I just yelled at her and told her to stop. It got to a point to where I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. That was my bad. And I flew into her windshield and I cracked her windshield. And I'm like, am I really doing this to myself to where I have to argue with the person who raised me and try to justify my actions when I can't justify anything that I was doing? I was out there killing myself every single day and killing my family and my loved ones, and that's just not right.
Man. And up until that point, you had never had those types of thoughts ever. Like, what about growing up? Did you ever have any sense of faith or anything like that, man?
I grew up in a Catholic household. I was an altar boy, so I
Me too, dog.
my faith was shaken when I was in high school.
Yeah. So I mean, you're in the car, you're having this argument. I'm guessing, man. I mean, you said you were out there in the streets. Was there a time in your life where you were just completely homeless too, just living out there?
I was 5 years on the streets.
5 years on the streets, and all of this happened. Was this all happening simultaneously with the loss that you guys had, or was this after?
This was after. This was so in 2018, that's when I decided to start using needles and rigs. I picked up a because I was getting misdemeanors and stuff like that, but then I picked up a felony case in 2020 where I served time, where I literally all of 2021 I was incarcerated, and I got out in February of 2022, was sober for 2 months, relapsed, and then that's when me and my aunt started having issues, and we got into that argument somewhere around July of 2022.
Oh man. So okay. So it was just that moment of like disparity of like, man, I'm at my wit's end pretty much. It's like a moment you were crying out. You know what I'm saying? That's like one of the most powerful moments in your life. Was it hard for you once you had that thought in your head to enter over here at ARC? Like, was it an easy decision? Were you 100% done, or were you still a little bit reluctant?
Once I actually got into the detox center here at Calvary, and then they sent me to the Ark, that was a moment of clarity where I was done. Because a week before I went to the Calvary to get clean, I went to Vogue, and they sent me to Crossroads, and I walked out. I'm gonna be honest, I walked out.
Yeah.
There was issues with another patient, and I had to walk out. And I finally 3 days later, after I walked out of Crossroads, I went to Calvary, and then a case manager, and I won't forget his name. His name was Sean. He's like, I want to send you to Tucson. I want to send you to the Ark. Get you out of Phoenix. Work on yourself.
What ended up, if you don't mind me asking, brother, what happened to your parents? Are they both still around?
Yes, my mom right now is in the hospital dealing with some medical issues, and my dad is got some issues of going on with himself, but they're still around.
Oh, okay. All right. So I guess the reason why I was asking that was just because I didn't know how the relationships in your life, how they were at that time, right before you came in and really started taking the recovery seriously. Other than your aunt, did you have any communication with your parents, or were you just completely cut off from your family?
I was completely cut off in a way. Like a lot of my family members didn't really have hope. They thought I was gonna die out on the streets. Like some
Yeah.
hurtful things were said against me right when I went into recovery that I still remember. But I got to remember the person I was, the person I did, and the things I did. I have to earn that respect that I lost, that I took away from my family.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's for one. I mean, I just did a podcast earlier, and we were talking about accountability. Man, that's such a big thing. Like, because in all honesty, that's one of the things that I feel like a lot of people struggle with is they get these severed ties with their family, right? Like they do some horrible shit, and all of a sudden it's, I think the addiction has a really sneaky way of making you feel like those ties could never be fixed again. Like once that bridge is burnt, it ain't coming back up type of thing. You know what I mean? I feel like, as far as taking the accountability goes, man, it's allowing yourself to see, where your faults were in this situation. But also at the same time, too, I'm sure since you've gotten sober, a lot of those connections have been able to be reestablished again, right?
Yeah, I even started talking to my high school sweetheart, which we had a relationship now, and we have a newborn baby.
Oh man, congratulations. That's what's up, dude. That's good. Hey, we're gonna go into that right now. I want to touch into that because that's a very important thing. But when you finally came to ARC, right? Was ARC where you feel like you finally got it? Like ARC is where you got that recovery bug and everything started changing?
Yeah, of course. The staff at ARC was amazing, and even when I had doubts, like I had a moment of darkness when I was in residential, and I was just like, I don't think I can do this.
Really?
There was a BHT named Angie who took me aside and actually talked to me and actually helped me through some of the issues I was having.
Wow. And what other things, other than the accountability and stuff like that, what were some of the other things that you learned through the classes that you hadn't really known before that helped you in your recovery?
I learned a lot about coping with issues that were causing me to use, and then like how to cope with the trauma that I faced, especially some of the trauma I faced on the street. Um, and then another thing is to talk about when I'm hurting or talking about when I'm having issues instead of just like blocking myself from the world. It helps you to express your issue, an issue that you're having.
Yeah. And so now, you came out of ARC. You've got 500 and man, 500, almost 600 days, bro, of being able to live this new life. All of these new things started changing, right? You got this new relationship, you got this new sense of life. How, like, for somebody who's on the other end, watching this, maybe they're in active addiction right now at the moment, bro. And maybe they feel like, I've done all of these heinous things. I've burnt all these bridges. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares about me. My life is always going to be at this darkest, lowest point that it's at now. What advice or what could you say to that person right now looking into that camera and telling them that you feel is something you wish someone would have told you?
Honestly, you got to start somewhere. You can you can't let yourself sit in darkness. To be able to get out of the darkness, you need to step out into the light.
Mm.
You gotta accept help that's offered. Like there's so many centers that you can go to. There's so many detox places that you can go to actually get what you need, and people you can talk to, and um there's so many places you can go nowadays, and it's just I know it's a struggle and I know it's hard, but it is if you're willing to change and you're willing to take that step, so many doors can open for you and it will change your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. That's awesome. And, going back to, some of the things that were essential for you when staying in your active recovery right now, doing your thing, man, how much would you say, as far as the steps goes, like staying in community, having a higher power, things like that, how much of that do you feel plays a role in your success today?
100% all of it. It plays a part in where I'm at.
And how does the recovery look for you, brother? Are you going to meetings weekly? Like what is your? We always talk about recovery is kind of like a tailored suit, right? So what works for you might not necessarily work for the next person. What are you doing on a daily basis?
On a daily basis, I try to be active with my family. I got a 7-year-old stepson and a baby.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to get into meetings, but I try to at least touch a meeting once a week, maybe once a month, depending on it, especially if I'm in a dark place.
Yeah.
I will tune into a meeting. Even if I don't share, just listen to the other people sharing in a meeting. It makes me feel better knowing that I'm not alone.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Feeling like you're not alone is the hardest part, especially when we're in that darkness, man. And it always seems like, the devil works and moves in overtime when you're alone and you're just with your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? He's able to kind of talk to you and throw all kinds of garbage at you. Going back, talking about your life now, man, with your high school sweetheart, I really wanted to focus on that a little bit. We talked a little bit about the weeds, but let's talk about the flowers, right? I mean, it's obviously possible, bro. It's obviously possible. The world opened up and everything completely changed for you. You got a new relationship. You got a new baby. Everything seems to be doing good, man. Where are you working right now too?
I actually will be working at a Frito-Lay's company, hopefully for a little bit,
Okay.
until I actually can get my certificates in order to become a BHT.
Awesome, man. Well, dude, that's fantastic, brother. And thank you again, man. I wish we could have got you in the studio, but I thank you so much for being here. And I hope and pray that whoever's listening to this, got some hope out of it, man. Let's hope that we can get somebody off of the street, man.
I appreciate that, and I hope so.
Yes, absolutely.
Brother, I just want to add one thing. If you're struggling with a fentanyl addiction, there are too many people dying and from a fentanyl overdoses. The death toll is really high, and if you're struggling with fentanyl, please seek help. We don't need to add more people to the death toll.
Absolutely, man. And also one more thing on that too is, we've had a few people come in from the community talking about that they're out there doing outreach. They're offering Narcan, free Narcan to people, different things like that. Make sure trying to get off of it, man, but don't ever feel any shame of guilt if you have to take some of that Narcan or whatever it may be, but seriously, it's taken so many lives. We've lost so many people. When we first started here, man, it was maybe alcohol, cocaine, opiates were there with a sprinkle of fentanyl every now and then. And now it's completely opposite, man. So something's got to change.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, brother, I want to thank you again, dog, for coming on and speaking a little bit about your testimony, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go press this button real quick. You give it up to my brother, Michael. And, for everyone else who's watching this right now, I hope you guys got something from it. I thank my brother so much for coming on. Hopefully we can get you in here for a part 2 pretty soon, man. And maybe, fill us in a little bit on how everything else is going, man. Maybe you can come over here and work or something, dog. We'll see what's up. Let me know, dude, when you're ready, and we'll put your name on top
That's
of that.
plans in the works.
All right, brother. Well, you have a fantastic day. And to all of the listeners as well, you guys have a fantastic day, man. Much love. God bless. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace. What's going on, everybody? This is Booda from the ARCast, and I just wanted to thank you for checking out this week's episode. It means a lot, and if you could share it with a friend or a loved one, somebody in need in recovery, or maybe somebody who just needs that little bit of extra positivity in their life, we'd greatly appreciate it. If you would like to join us here on the ARCast, either in the studio live or online, hit us up. The links are down in the show notes of this episode, and on there, you can find direct links to our main website here at Americas Rehab Campus and all of our social media platforms. Follow us. We keep the posts positive and motivational, focused on recovery, health, and wellness. As you know, in this modern day and age, we need as much love as possible, y'all. And as always, if you or somebody you know is in need of substance abuse treatment, please don't hesitate to give us a call. We're open 24 hours a day, and our direct phone number is 1-833-272-7342. Once again, that phone number is 1-833-272-7342. I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day. Much love and God bless. Peace.